So I saw The Undertaker. I saw him. That was a surprise, huh? And then Cody Rhodes finished his story. And The Rock and John Cena went at it. And wrestling won.
Wrestling won. We here.
We're here.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And everybody's saying GPS. Yeah.
That's
What's going on, everybody?
Woo. We're back, Tom.
Yeah,
you were
how
at
you feeling?
WrestleMania. The greatest one ever, apparently, according to Twitter.
You were dying at one point. You had the flu. You got it intentionally to skimp out on Jess's birthday. That's what rumor has it on the Twitter sphere.
Every year.
That you were licking the what was it, the transit in the Denver airport. You just went rode that, and you were just licking the poles, hoping to get sick. Yeah. So that you were like, man, I really need an out. I haven't had time to really shop for Jess or give it a ton of thought. Been thinking a lot about what QB the Broncos are potentially draft, and so yeah. I heard it was self-induced.
It was like the inside of my body was having WrestleMania, and everybody was losing to the virus.
Everyone, it was a squash match.
It was.
It was.
Turns out it was not. It was. We got the Roan Dog here. It was the Roan Dog.
Oh wait, you got COVID?
Yeah, it was. I thought it was the flu, and then when everybody got it, and everybody had kind of like different symptoms, and Carmi kicked it like in 48 hours.
Of course,
I was like, that's not like the flu would have taken Carm down.
Yeah, it would have.
Because I was really worried about giving it to her.
Of course.
So then we're like, oh, maybe it's something else. Yeah, Tuesday was the worst, like the sickest I've been in years. And I thought on Wednesday that if Russell Wilson had gotten traded back to the Broncos Tuesday, I wouldn't have been able to make a video about it.
So I just want to...
He could have purchased the Broncos, Russell Wilson, and then burned them to the ground, and I'd be like, you're going to have to wait till the weekend.
So I did see that there's a few folks on Twitter when we announced that we couldn't do the show, because you were obviously sick with what we thought was the flu. And they said, well, Tom had COVID and did GPS. So now there's not even an excuse. There's just
my body is
weakness.
It handles it differently. Let's just put it that way. And what do you want me to say? What I told the guy on Twitter? That you're more of a man than me? Is that what you wanted to hear, Tom?
I don't need to hear anything.
I want to hear you're more of a man than me. It was impressive. You did that show Monday. I have no idea how you did it. I'm honest.
Did you get an insanely high fever too?
Yeah, I got a fever, and when I get a fever, I can't do anything.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm telling you, the one on Monday night after that show, like when it got up to like 103, that was legit. I was like, I can't drink water. I can't eat. My head is just Oh yeah, that was bad.
It was the
I'm glad
head.
You're feeling better at least.
We're good now. We're getting there. Lingering son of a bitch is what this is. But
World Heavyweight and WWE entrances, amazing. And then of course The Rock on Saturday night. Come on now.
What's Cody Rhodes' story? What's his deal?
All right. Well, this is
do you like Brock Purdy?
So here's the thing. WrestleMania was this weekend, which is the Super Bowl for wrestling.
Ian Rappaport was there.
Kyle
Brandt was there.
Yep.
I saw so many bench warmer. Brand was there.
George Kittle was there.
I saw so many. Obviously, the Kelsey showed up. Jason. Yep. I saw so many football people at the event. I was like, I feel like I should be there And I like,
dude, it was so awesome. It was so effing cool. Like, I love wrestling. Like, obviously, half the times when we're streaming together during the football season, the chat turns into wrestling, right? Like, it's something that's been there for a while. But yeah, no, Cody, this is a big deal because like this is a multi-year storyline, and for those who don't watch wrestling or what have you, the cool thing is like there's not really seasons of it. Like they'll call it like season premieres or whatever, but like it just keeps going. Like every Monday is a new episode of Raw. Every Friday is a new episode of SmackDown. And so like now, like they just culminated this big story that they've been telling for like 4 years. You could argue 10 years with the Shield. But that's the cool thing. Like it never ends. So there could be callbacks to something 10 years ago because it's just like established as like lore or part of their story. And Cody, his father, was a very, very famous wrestler, Dusty Rhodes, who never won the WWE championship, was supposed to have it. And then Cody went through the system. He was like in WWE for a while and he just got misused. Like he had these crappy gimmicks. He had to do like this face paint and like cartwheels as Stardust. And he wasn't being utilized. And so he left and helped form AEW, which is a competing wrestling company. Basically went out to the indies, like went all over the world, became an established star, then went back to WWE. And now years later, like won the biggest belt. So
nice.
The one that his dad never did. So like it's pretty damn dope. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. I love wrestling. Wrestling's awesome. So it was a cool moment. So what happened was my dad took me to WrestleMania 23 and 24. So this was 16 and 17 years ago. So back in 23, we drove to Detroit from New York. And we had literally like back row, nosebleed, behind the stage. Our right like view was completely obstructed, and saw WrestleMania, and it was dope. It was a good show. And then we went to 24, which was really, really cool. And so like this year, I was like, okay, I bought these tickets back in November, and I was like, I'm gonna take my dad, and like I'm gonna, kind of give back to what I had in the childhood, and got him second row. And yeah, he was losing his mind last night. So
that's awesome.
Cool. It's pretty cool. It's true, babe. It's true. But yeah, it's been a weekend.
Yes, 2 nights. I forgot.
They split it up during COVID. So it used to just be one night. And the problem with that is like it would run until like 1 o'clock in the morning. So like it'd start at 8 and like go there. But so after COVID, they kind of just split it up into 2 nights to make it a little bit more easier. Now more people can be on the card. And plus they make a crap ton more money because there were 72,000 people there both nights. So yeah, now it's 2 nights. And yeah, honestly, like last night's main event was like one of the best main events like in WrestleMania history, just because like all the callbacks, all the surprises, like it was like peak professional wrestling. And yeah, I love wrestling. So it was dope. It was dope. I have so much fun.
Is John Cena and The Rock were they competitors then back in the day?
Yeah, so they did something really cool. This was back in the day. This was years ago now. It was John Cena versus The Miz in the main event of WrestleMania. I don't remember what it was. It was like 26, 27, somewhere around there. I just forget which one. And basically, The Rock interfered in that match. Cena lost. And so the next night on Raw, they announced the main event of Mania a year in advance. They're like, okay, it's going to be The Rock and John Cena. And so
nice.
like they did it was a once in a lifetime thing. They did it in Florida. The Rock won, and then they just did it again the following year in New Jersey, and Cena wound up winning. So yeah, they faced off at Mania before. So yeah, a lot of history there.
I thought the Undertaker had the best gig.
Oh yeah,
for the night, for the weekend.
Pops up, choke slam, gone.
Just one move. I was like, man, that guy could do that forever.
Yeah.
You could be 86 and just be like, bam.
Yep, boom. And then you jump with it anyway. Oh, yeah. Damian Priest cashed in Money in the Bank. He just dipped, man. Went out, boom, done. Dip, gone. It's great.
I don't know what that means.
It was also amazing, too, because on Twitter, again, a lot of eyes on the product this weekend because it's like their Super Bowl.
Sure.
And I saw when Damian Priest cashed in Money in the Bank, bisexual Undertaker was trending. And I was like, that is just phenomenal.
Interesting.
So, yeah, no, I love it. I absolutely love it. So, yep. Oh, yeah. So that happened when you were under.
Did not give a shit. I was
Stefon Diggs got traded.
Who cares? Sorry, Buffalo. Do not give a shit right now.
You're just like, I am busy dying. So
yeah,
It can't happen.
We got to it eventually. Thank God for Will and Johnny cranking that. Will wrote me a script while I was still sick, and then I got it over to Johnny. He stayed up all night editing that, and then he went to the Battlehawks game on Saturday. So hopefully in the UFL winners and losers, we get a little segment from Barks about his Battlehawks experience.
That's dope. That's dope. Oh, it was insane. One of the most insane experiences. Just, it was great. It was great. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
We got Diggs to talk about. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? Like immediately, because I would say I'm not insanely surprised just because of like everything that was talked about. Yeah. I was very surprised when it happened. Like I was not expecting it to be like now.
My favorite thing was seeing all the people who predicted Diggs getting traded from like months ago retweeting themselves, being like, told you idiots. Yeah, there's always been this thing with Diggs, right, in Buffalo where he's been great. And then it's like once a season, there's always like some little thing. It's like Diggs isn't happy or he's annoyed or Josh Allen's annoyed. It's like you hear it with receivers, right? But the Bills, they were in salary cap trouble. They cleared a bunch of space. They haven't been able to do much in free agency. They take on a dead cap hit, which, hell yeah, Buffalo. I feel you there. But they free it up for 2025. So it feels like a reset year for the Bills in terms of contracts.
Sure.
And I don't think like him leaving Buffalo is going to be as big of a deal as like the initial sort of reaction is. And I mostly base that on the fact that the Chiefs had nobody catching passes last year, right? It took a while before Kelsey came back and Rice was good. And I think the Bills are kind of going to hope for the same shit this year. Like we got a bunch of dudes. They have two very good tight ends, like Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Great. They'll find somebody in the draft, I'm assuming. So I think they'll be okay. And then I think this gives the Texans a huge boost. Like I thought one of their needs was getting another receiver for the Texans in case something happens to Tank Dell or Nico Collins. Like when we saw Tank Dell went down with an injury late last year with a broken leg. It's like, I wonder what the Texans would have done in the playoffs had they had another weapon there. So, and Diggs, it's a great 1 year. It's a 1 year rental for the Texans, which was nice that I had to wait because that information came out later. They cleared the back end of his contract. He'll be there for this season. And maybe if like they love him there, he'll come back on, a deal. I doubt it, but, and Diggs will have interest in, putting up numbers so he can get another contract. So it's a good deal for the Texans. Bills are going to have cap space moving forward. So,
Well, I think it's a win-win because also for the Bills, I mean, let's just be very honest. Like Stefon Diggs did, especially that back half of last season, did not play great. I mean, like he just didn't put up the numbers that like the money was commanding and what have you. And I think it's this mix, right? Because there was the initial shock, especially from like Bills fans of like, oh, damn, like this kind of sucks. Like we're taking on this dead money. The return really wasn't that great. Though if the Vikings are really bad this year, then, that second round pick, that could be close to like the back end of the first. So that's positive. But I think it speaks volumes that the front office was willing to get rid of Diggs for that compensation, one, thinking that they'd be fine without him. And two, I think it's like, hey, it worked out for a while. He really made our passing game significantly better for a while. And now it's just over. And for the Texans, it makes a lot of sense because they get to give up a second. They got a little bit of exchange back too, but they give up a second to get a 1 year rental. And this could kind of be like a push. Like if it works out this year with Stefon Diggs, cool. He puts up insane numbers. He either goes and signs one more big contract or, maybe he signs a deal with the Texans, whatever. But now it's like an extra piece where you, like you were saying before, you have Nico Collins, you have Tank Dell, you have CJ Stroud, that offense, maybe it puts it over the top because even if Stefon Diggs is wide receiver 3 on that roster, which I'm sure he's going to be competing for wide receiver 1 targets, I think it just makes that offense better and they can make a push that maybe they could be like the Bengals a few years ago and they can make it, pretty far.
Yeah. And I think
It is.
What I don't know is because Diggs he was productive for like the first 8 weeks last season. Yeah. And then comparatively, his numbers dropped way off. And we kept waiting for him to have a game late in the season. Yeah. And it didn't happen. It felt like he was irrelevant in the playoffs. So I think that's why the Bills are fine moving on from him, because you're asking this question, right? He's hitting, how old is he, like 30 now?
Yeah, he's getting close, yeah.
What's his age? What's my age again?
I was just
30 years old. Okay. He is 30. So, second half of the season. Is his production declining because he's 30? He's just getting older? Was he injured? I don't know. But I think Josh Allen will be fine without him at this point in his career. I think Diggs coming in when he did was instrumental to Josh's development, but like the same way we assume Mahomes raises the level of guys, Rodgers, Stroud, in my opinion, like Allen does the same, so they'll be fine. And one thing I put in the video was like, good receivers are found at the back end of the first round and the top of the second round. So many good guys are drafted there. So the Bills are in a decent spot to get their guy. And if they move up, I think in this draft, they're moving up like from like 28 to 22 or 21. They're not, I don't think they're going to do some crazy move where they're trying to get, top 10, top 15 to get their guy. I think
that's not what they need right now either. Like, to even answer like this question, like they need to also address defense. Like they need, because they lost a few guys, right? A lot of them were like aging and like a little bit older and stuff, but they still need to replenish that defense 100%. And then they need another receiver. And I think it's like Khalil Shakir, like I like him a lot. Like I'm hoping that maybe like this is an opportunity to really break out. He's had like a couple of really good performances.
Because his production went up as Diggs kind of went down.
Yeah. Curtis Samuel, again, I think that's a good signing. I think that like he is a very like steady, could be wide receiver too in the meantime. So yeah, I think the Bills are in an interesting spot. I don't know. You'll make the argument, right, with Josh Allen that they will be competitive. And I think that they will be competitive. I think with that division, it's going to be really interesting. We'll see what the Patriots do. But like the Jets, is this the year for them to be like, okay, like this is our shot. Like the Bills are going to be like a little bit down and out. So let's go. The Dolphins, they're another team. So like the division's not going to get necessarily easier. And if the Patriots, hit on their QB, they're going to be better too. So
yeah, Patriots are weird right now. It's like they've re-signed a bunch of guys, which you like when you're a good football team, but we'll see. Yeah, Patriots to me feel like they're going to be bad again, no matter who they draft a quarterback. But they need a
new O-line too. Like it needs to get better. But Ayuk, no, I haven't heard anything about this. It got like there was this rumors to the Jaguars for a bit, and then it like kind of got quiet again, and then I haven't heard anything. Could still happen draft time. I mean, hell, the Bills could trade for a guy like T. Higgins if they really wanted to. I mean, I don't know if they have the money for it, but
they could. I mean, they could pay him 2025. Yeah.
Push it out. Push out that money. Yeah, Jason Kelce there. That was pretty funny. That was pretty dope.
Him and Lane Johnson, right?
Yep, Lane Johnson was there too. Yeah, Kittle was there both nights because he's a huge wrestling fan.
Right.
Oh man, the boos that filled that stadium. They were loud. Yeah. Makes sense.
What'd The Rock say? Like he was late for something and said he was watching Jalen Hurts losing in the playoffs highlights?
Yeah, that was at the kickoff. I think that was like on Friday or something, or Thursday.
Yeah.
He was just like, sorry, I was late. I was watching YouTube, watching Jalen Hurts blow it in the playoffs again.
Nice.
Heel Rock coming back has been great. It has just been so much fun. And Raw tonight, baby. Raw after Mania.
Yeah, I like Villain Rock.
Yeah, Heel Rock, baby. It's great.
A man that big and strong shouldn't be so nice all the time,
It's true.
I need to be scared of The Rock a little bit.
But yeah, today we are going to be talking about draft needs because we are getting pretty damn close. And I feel like, Brandon, actually, before we even get into that, I meant to put this in the rundown. Oh, man, this could be like an entire topic. I kind of want to talk about the layoffs.
Oh, yeah. I started making notes for one thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a video about that at some point. but that was big from the NFL Network, right?
So, yeah, it's the NFL Network, but I don't know if it's just who I'm following or what have you. Like, there was a lot of guys, like, there was folks like Packer, like, just individual, like, independent, like SB Nation or just like random other companies that also started doing layoffs, so, like, their podcasting and stuff like that. So, like, a lot of people, like, especially in like the sports broadcasting media world, like, lost their jobs over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it sucks.
It seems like the NFL Network is going, like, they're obviously making changes. Like, even Siciliano's gone.
Yeah, that was the big one. It was like he's like a staple of the NFL Network.
Yeah.
And we saw it last year with ESPN, right? And then this, like, a guy like that, you just wonder what they're thinking moving forward. Like, what's their plan? Because he's got to be like one of the most liked personalities at NFL Network, I feel like, Siciliano, in terms of he's there every day. And if he was the first guy I had Red Zone with, was it DirecTV back in the day? So yeah, it sucks when you see that.
Macho Man with a fitty. Boop. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, you got to establish that dominance, baby. You got to look right into the sun. Don't look into the sun, by the way. Don't do that. Because if you look into the sun...
Don't blink. If you're a blinker, cut your eyelids off.
Might as well. If you're going to stare into the sun, just ruin your eyes completely. Don't stare.
I'll tell you, you want to cut your eyelids off, Tomlin.
That's it. Appreciate you, Macho Man. Yeah, I want to talk about just because it sucks, right? I mean, like, you had talented people who lost their job. And I think it also, it's tough because right now, like, you and I, just like planning for this show, we were off for a couple of days just because of dealing with sickness and all that great stuff. And we were like, damn, like, what are we going to talk about today? Because, yeah, there's the draft, but it feels like even on April 8th, the draft has been, like, talked about into the ground. Yeah. You know who the number 1 overall pick is. You know that there's going to be some QBs going. And there's going to be, like, that pickup the week of the draft. And that's when things are going to get really crazy. But it's a dead period. And the problem is, like, when you have the NFL Network and you have to talk about the NFL 365 days a year, it gets a little difficult to fill programming. Yeah. Right. And that's why you have, like, the random stuff. That's why we have Off the Rails GPS. And then that's when you go, when is it ever on the rails? And I go, good point. But it's tough because they need to make money, the NFL Network. Yeah. Right. And they need to pay all these people. But, like, in the middle of the offseason, what the hell are they going to do? Or, like, when it's been talked to death. And I'm not justifying the layoffs in any way, shape, or form. It's just, like, that's also the world that we live in. Of it sucks. Like, it's brutal, and it's like, hey, like, this is cost cutting, and a lot of talented people lost their jobs because of it. And I'm sure that there's gonna be guys that are gonna, they'll be picked up somewhere else, and they'll have other opportunities, especially some big names. But yeah, that's scary stuff, dude. Like, it's one of the reasons I'm very happy. Like, my boss is my cats and dogs that I need to feed with good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's what's odd about it too, it's like Good Morning Football's moving from New York to LA, right? So people are wondering what kind of changes are happening there. And then this stuff happened. And I'm surprised that it happened before the draft, though. You know what I mean? It seems like it's one of those things that they would have waited until after the draft to make both of those changes, where you're moving one of your biggest shows and then where you're moving on from some of your, big name talent too. But it's crazy. It's like, even like the NFL Network, because it's different than the NFL, right? It functions, it's as a media company. So
Correct.
The NFL can make $1 billion. It doesn't mean it's still accounting like what money is that the network making in the media umbrella.
Yeah.
But just like you and I are competing now with Jason and Travis Kelce, right? For eyeballs on YouTube. Like,
sure.
They're a show, they're their own thing. You got companies like Barstool that they compete with. John Boy Media, which, like, they're freaking awesome. You've got like Shannon Sharp is his own thing now. And so, like, the NFL Network's competing with all of those individual brands in addition to a bunch of assholes like us. And it's just like you've got to find your audience there. And it's like the networks, the talent at the places, they have to be their own brands on top of having their regular job as a media personality at the network. So it's like you got to do two things, and it's unfair to, I think, a lot of like actual trained journalists and sports journalists who
they get
should just be
in.
working on telling stories, getting information and facts right, but they've got to have a draw on social media in addition to having their seat at the desk, and it's fucking crazy.
So here's my question, because that's just where the landscape of sports media is going, right? Like
John Boy Media, John Boy, shout out, they are awesome.
People tune into people. Like that has never been more true. The content 100%, and there needs to be a level of the content that needs to, either needs to be informed, entertaining, whatever type of personality you are here. But it's individual people now. Like, people listen to Pat McAfee's show because of Pat McAfee and the boys, right? And people listen to GPS, right? It ain't just going to be because of like, oh, I'm a huge Bills fan, and like I just want to hear like the most in-depth, like insane X's and O's like about that's not what it is. It's the personality, and plus like we watch a ton of football and live and breathe this, and so people tune in. And so my question to you, and I think that this is a little bit tougher, is, okay, now there is a vacuum that's been created, right? Because now it's like, okay, the NFL Network is like laying off people. There's other people or other companies that are doing the same. What fills that space? Or should I say, who fills that space? Because if you're the NFL Network going like, are we just cutting that programming and we're never bringing stuff back, and we're just going to show highlights because it's cheaper, like, or we're going to show like game replays because it's cheaper? Or are they going to attempt to make a move into a space and try to attract those people that bring in those audiences? Like, that's what it's going to be really interesting to see come football season, because after the draft, there's 2 weeks in May where it's like, all right, football, and then it dies. Like, it nosedives, and there's nothing to talk about for like months. They're not going to be hiring people then. Like, they're not going to be bringing in people. But as we get into August, we get to pregame, and especially as we get to September, I'm curious to see like what fills that space or who fills that space.
Yeah, it doesn't pick back up again until like July with training camp.
Yeah, and even then, that's like for the diehards.
Yeah, that's like that's where people like us are happy when you see like Siciliano and Rappaport and all those guys. Like James Palmer's gone too, and James Palmer. He was always on the Broncos beat out here. Yeah. So like everybody in Denver knows Palmer really well, but like we as the football nerds love seeing them. It's like, oh yeah, we trust these guys. They're going to, the training camp stuff's always, you put it on, it's like passive, but you catch little nuggets here and there. Mm-hmm. But it's like, how many people are into that? How do you keep people interested from May to, preseason? I don't know.
Yeah, no, dude, like my numbers, like they go up a little bit in August, and then it's not until September, and then they like really start popping.
There's always this fear, I think, for us
every year
after the draft. Once it dies down, it's like is everybody going to come back again?
Yep.
Or was this my last good year?
Every year.
Was this my last run?
Because you go through, and then September happens, and you're like, oh, we're so back, and then it's just a sprint until February. And then like March is pretty good. April at the end is pretty good. And then it just dies again for months. You're like, well, I hope the audience comes back every single year. Yeah. Every year you worry about it. So I don't know, man. Like it sucks to see people lose their jobs. And it's going to be interesting to see like how the landscape of sports media continues to evolve, because I think it's also people have, and I love this, people have more options. Like the audience has more options than ever. You want to go watch a guy who just breaks down X's and O's. You want to go watch a play-by-play. You want to go watch skits. You can watch whatever you want because it's there in some way, shape, or form. It could be somebody has 100,000 subscribers. They have 2 subscribers. But if they're making that kind of content, like you will get an audience that like, it's like, yeah, that's the kind of content I want. So I'm really interested to see how the big companies respond, because you and I both know that the NFL Network, what have you, it is a very reactive brand / league / companies rather than being proactive. And they go, oh, this is what people actually want in these. I mean, look at the Manning cast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like that's ESPN, obviously, but yeah, Usually a little slow to the change. Intercontinental was dope. It was dope. Anyway, we're talking about the draft today. I hear you have an article.
I do. Well, I have 2 articles. And I put this in I think Monday, before I got nearly taken off this planet.
This chapter is.
There it is.
Chapter. Curious next.
So, what was funny, it was like, I had to look through a lot of art. Hey, get out of here, ads.
Hey,
no
sugar. So I get diabetes. There we go.
All right. So,
I disagree.
CBS.
The Bears don't need a quarterback.
There's a ton of articles about like draft needs, but so many of them hadn't been updated since like like pre-free agency. I'm like, this is it took me a while to find this. So I had this in here, and then I also The Athletic dropped an article I think this week about biggest remaining needs for all the teams now that we've kind of gotten through free agency. And what I like about this one, it shows like each team and who they lost and brought in. And so I thought we could kind of go through and figure out which draft needs we think are actually the biggest. The Bears, everything. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Because we haven't talked. We've talked a little bit about the draft on and off here, but not a ton.
Yeah. Oh, they contenders. So we're gonna kind of just go through and like see if we agree. So the Bears, I mean, it's pretty easy. Obviously, their number one need is quarterback. They're gonna go get Caleb Williams. There's no drama there. Wide receiver, they still do need to address. Like bringing in Keenan Allen is solid for very, very short term, but is also older and not gonna have him for a bit. Yeah. And then interior offensive line, especially like center. They definitely need an upgrade there. But their defense definitely got better. At the end of last year, like towards that tail end, it did get better. It's just they need to just hit a home run on freaking QB, man.
I would say offensive line is their biggest need outside of quarterback. And I would say that pretty much for any of these top teams drafting a QB. Best thing you can give your rookie is protection up front. Give them a little bit longer to make decisions, strong line to run behind, and that will do them well. That one thing with Keenan Allen, apparently the Texans tried to acquire Keenan Allen as well when he was on the trade block there. So
I got Stefon Diggs instead. Yeah, I mean the offensive line for the Bears is not as bad as it was a couple years ago. Like there was when we were in the offseason and we were like, this is the worst offensive line like ever put on paper. Like Tevin Jenkins, we didn't know. They're not as bad, but they, especially in the interior, especially center, they do need to upgrade and to protect Caleb Williams. I'm more curious to see how DeAndre Swift is going to do in Chicago. I'm very curious about that because you were talking about the benefits of a good offensive line, especially for a rookie QB. You also need somebody to hand the ball to, like just to be like, here you go, like have a nice day.
Dude, if I were a rookie quarterback, I would tell my head coach, I want to set the record for most handoffs in a season.
Yep. I'll do it.
500 handoffs, please.
You're just like, and I crushed it. Like you want the Mac Jones against the Bills kind of performance.
Yes.
Like, I threw the ball like a handful of times. I completed a couple. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because they got Swift. They still have Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson. So they have nice running backs in Chicago. See them commit to it.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how Swift
Commanders.
They need offensive line so bad. I mean, fun fact. So I was
and
talking
edge now too, but
we when I was at Mania both nights, I was sitting near a Commanders fan, and we were talking about football like a good amount. And I mentioned this last night. I was like, especially last season, in the beginning of the season, I was really picking on the Commanders and was like, dude, like your offensive line is trash. Like it's bad. Like you need to get it fixed. But then I watched the Giants offensive line and I was like, maybe it's not that bad. And it's still bad. Like it is still very bad and they need to address it. But oh boy, maybe not the worst in the division. They obviously addressed offensive line. a little bit in free agency. They're going to go get their QB. I imagine it's going to be Jaden Daniels. That'd kind of be my guess just because of his ceiling. But yeah, their offense needs to be improved. I mean, hell, like they lost Curtis Samuel too.
Yeah. Buffalo Bill.
Yep.
I saw a tweet about Sam Howell. And it wasn't from like ESPN or anything. I forget. I don't even know what the account was. But it said the Commanders decided they wanted to trade Howell because he's too much of an alpha and they didn't want to have a young QB trying to play behind him. And I was like, man, that's like the coolest thing to get tweeted about.
It's like,
I don't even know if it's true, but I'm just going to say it's true in my head for forever. Washington is in full rebuild. New head coach, new GM, all that shit.
Secondary needs to get rebuilt. The secondary really needs to get rebuilt.
Yeah, they need so many. I would say they need. It's like they have as many needs to me as the Panthers.
They're up there.
Yeah.
Patriots, good God. Can we just say offense? Offensive line needs to be better. Wide receiver, they need somebody to throw to. KJ Osborne is not going to be the guy. They need a QB, obviously, and that's going to most likely be their first pick. They need a lot of offensive help. Like a lot. But
you know what's so funny?
Tell me.
Player lost, Jacoby Brissett, signed by the Patriots. Player lost, Antonio Gibson, signed by the Patriots.
Yep.
Just swapping guys.
The Patriots, to me, like their defense, I think will be solid. Like it'll still be a solid team, but their offense, it depends on who they get at QB, right? That QB can like elevate them from being a really bad football team to like a solid football team. And like then they could build around what have you. But they need to, the Patriots to me are like one of the teams that like need to hit really well on the draft because like the offense has been so stagnant for a few seasons now. They need something, just some kind of spark to make it a little bit better.
What's this super chat? Miles? The Broncos mascot showed hog. Is that what that's saying?
That's what it said. What are your thoughts on the Patriots? True story.
They are one of the least interesting teams to me right now. They'll be more interesting once we know who their quarterback is, but
sure.
Yeah. Who do they need? I still think, they need a ball catcher for whoever they draft.
Yeah, they need someone to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like we all know these top teams. I don't give a shit about them anymore.
I think there's a decent chance JJ goes top 5.
JJ?
Yeah.
McCarthy? Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he goes 2 overall. I hope all the craziest rumors about his rise are true, and he is just the second quarterback taken.
Mm-hmm.
Or I hope I hope Harbaugh takes him and trades away Herbert. That's what I really want to see.
You just want maximum chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know about best WrestleMania. Maybe potentially like one of the best main events of WrestleMania history. And the view was insane. A lot louder on night 2 than it was night 1 because we were freezing our asses off night 1. It was cold.
Ooh. Yeah, I think receiver, pretty easy conclusion here. I agree. Cardinals. When you see it on there twice, yep, we need that.
They also need to address secondary as well. Yeah, secondary needs to be better. Receivers probably like one of their top needs. The Cardinals are in an interesting spot though because like they can move out of that. Let's just say 5 QBs go first.
Yeah.
Right. If the Cardinals like trade down and still can somehow end up with Marvin Harrison Jr. or like one of the top wide receivers and get insane value for a top 5 pick, I love that even more because I feel like you get Rome, right? Like even if you don't get Marvin
Rome
Harrison
or Neighbors,
you can get Rome, you get Neighbors, and I think like you're cooking. If you could get like insane value, get another first rounder, or you can get just like multiple, you're rocking.
Yeah, if they can address 2,
we'll do a mock draft.
Positions and needs, that would be nice. When they let both Rondale Moore and Hollywood Brown walk, receiver was already a need. It became a really big need. But they do seem like they're ready to do business and move out of that 4 spot. And that's probably where J.J. McCarthy will go at 4.
Do you think that's where the Vikings go?
Vikings, the Broncos are interested there. We'll see.
Sure. Yeah.
Raiders could try and get there. I don't know.
Brandon, I'm going to ask you a question that I already know the answer to, and I don't want to know the answer. When are the Vikings going to make the trade, and why is it going to be when I'm on vacation?
It's going to be when you're on vacation.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it's especially because you're going somewhere like Viking related, you know?
I know. I already admitted to it. Like Friday Night Q&A, it's going to happen. The Vikings are going to be the big trade. Yep, it's going to be the big news.
Don't worry. I'll do a Vikings and Cardinals fan react to, and then I'll send it to Barks, and then he can AI your face over mine, and it'll look like you did the video, and then you can just post it without even thinking.
I think I'm going to record something just in case news breaks. I've just, like, you know, I've said this before, like on The Office, when Daryl's like, all right, let's just get some of these talking heads out of the way and be like, wow, I cannot believe he or she did that. Yeah. What an event that I am shocked by. Just do that.
Boom.
Chargers.
Woo.
A hot dog could be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I would say receiver, their biggest need, guys.
Yeah, they need receiver badly.
If I thought the Cardinals needed a receiver after losing Moore and Brown, they lost Allen and Williams. Let's give them a ball catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do they they've been linked to Joe Alt too on their offensive line, right?
They have
a lot. So they're either going impact O-line player or, receiver.
Hey, appreciate you, Jack. I'll be back by that point. But hell yeah, enjoy Iceland.
There you go.
It's gonna be great. I can't wait. I can't freaking wait. Giants, yeah. Quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, all the ones they said here.
Quarterback's their biggest need.
See, this is another team where I'm curious how their defense is going to do without Wink Martindale. I'm just curious what it's going to look like. I think their D-line is still going to be really solid. I like that addition of Brian Burns. Like their D-line is still going to be good. They need to replace guys like Xavier McKinney. I just don't. Devin Singletary, like solid. I like it. Did well with the Texans. It's that offense. Like their offense just needs to be purged and rebuilt from the ashes because it's rough right now. It is rough.
Yeah. Here, hold on. Oh yeah.
I'm
bringing this up. Brendan, I think the Chargers were linked to Alt, but also Jim Harbaugh. I think there was an interview with him where he just went on, I don't know, a little bit of a speech about how you build a football team, and basically said it is all about the offense and defensive line, and how though having two solid position groups there, like offensive line affects everybody on the offense. It makes everybody better or worse depending, and it basically was overselling the value of a good offensive line. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers did. Like having two great tackles, that's not a bad problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Giants need a quarterback. Ooh, what about the Titans?
We had this in the rundown, and I forgot about that. Yeah, because that also... I said this on Friday during Q&A when I was asked about this. Billionaires should be paying for the stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm never going to knock the Packers for that. Like the stock sale, and people make fun of it and be like, oh, it's worthless, not meaning anything. But guess what? You don't have regular people paying taxes. You have people going, no, I'm going to buy this piece of paper that's going to make me like a part of the team. And it's more symbolic than anything, but it's a way to connect and raise money. And the Packers are going through some leasing issues right now with Green Bay, but they ain't raising taxes. You know what I mean? Like they're not making you pay for a football stadium.
No.
And considering that these owners make all of their money off of fans, they can pay for their own damn stadium.
Yeah. I almost feel bad for Chiefs fans because their stadium needs upgrades. The whole experience there, I think, could be better. And they've got ownership
fun
that
to
seems to have no interest in actually doing that unless somebody else is footing the bill.
Which is like, let's just call it what it. Like that's bullshit. Like let's just call it what it is, right? For you to be like, oh no, why? Because like you're gonna bring in money to the local economy, right? Because people are gonna come to the games. Well, what's happening when people are coming to the games too? Like you are making so much money. And I'm sorry, for you to win back-to-back Super Bowls too, and turn around and be like, oh, well, we want these regular everyday people to pay the bill. Like that's complete and total BS.
Yeah.
Like
especially like after the bad grades they got. And
like give me an effing break, man. Like you don't even have a locker room. Like what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean that like the Patriots, they did it the right way. Like Kraft upgraded everything after they started winning.
Let's see. Clark Hunt is an estimated net worth of $2 billion. I think he can find some.
Well, that's kind of poor for an owner.
Change
but yeah,
in the cushions. I think he could. So
today, Jaster. Today.
There you go. Anyway, sorry. Titans.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Spears. I think he'll do all right. Will Levis, you just got to hope that he's the guy, right? But this is kind of like a weird year for them. They definitely need to upgrade their offensive line. Their defense should still be pretty darn solid.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to kind of be like a middle-of-the-road team in a tough division.
To me, it feels like they had one of those free agency periods where they made a lot of splash signings. And now I'm just scared none of them are going to work out. It always happens to a team. I hope it does not happen. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see Will Levis, take a step forward. Got a great ball catcher in Ridley. They won the Snead sweepstakes. Feels like they're making up for past mistakes. I hope they do. What's their biggest need? I really don't know, honestly. Sure, offensive line. Give it to
I
them.
heard the UFL's been pretty good so far. Again, I just haven't had a chance to watch it. But...
the games this weekend were great.
The Brahmas, right? Like they came back and like had that insane comeback win.
There's 3 really, really good games. 3 out of 4 is, to me, it's wildly impressive.
It's pretty damn good.
It was good football. All right, Falcons. Now they're an interesting team. They upgrade quarterback, fill their biggest need
today. Yes. So Falcons.
That's not right.
That is not right. That is incorrect. They also did not lose Darnell Mooney.
What the? Oh, wow. This is wrong.
They got Desmond Ridder right. So there you go. There's that.
Is that the Bears? Did they just copy and paste the Bears shit?
I think they might have.
All right. Well,
yeah.
You know what? I gotta say, fuck the Falcons. If CBS can't even get it right, that was a bad sign.
Potential O-line. We were talking about the Bears, and then
Jets.
I really want that defense to be good.
Aaron Rodgers, stay healthy would be their biggest need.
True.
Ooh, man, the Jets taking a receiver at 10.
2 wipes. Yeah,
somebody might fall there. Like, Neighbors or Odunze, depending on how the top shakes out right there.
Dude, that'd be insane if they got Rome.
That
would be insane. I mean, they got Mike Williams, which I think is definitely solid. It makes that wide receiver room better. Yeah. I know they addressed O-line in the draft, in the free agency, excuse me. So I think like it's not set, but it's better.
And they added Hassan Reddick, right?
Yeah. Because
they lost Bryce Huff, but they added Reddick. Didn't Huff go to the Eagles? The Eagles and them just do a little.
I believe they did, if I'm not mistaken.
They do the swap.
It's been a while. But yeah, wide receiver, O-line, tight end is interesting. Yeah. If they got like a real weapon at tight end, that'd be pretty cool. But I don't think it's going to be like a top. Like they're going to go out and draft that first.
Yeah, I would go. I think
likely.
We'll see with Mike Williams opposite Garrett Wilson, like you're saying. But yeah, protection. Just keep Rodgers upright. He's getting old.
A little bit. Got it.
All right. Oh yeah. So the The Vikings did the same thing. They did a little edge swap, baby. Right? Because Hunter went to the Texans. They got Grenard
got Cashman from the Texans too.
Yeah, and Van Ginkel. Once he gets healthy, that's a really nice addition for the Vikings.
Let's ignore running back.
Oh, that's right.
They need a quarterback.
They have no needs besides QB. They are stacked.
They need a quarterback.
Ready to go, Tom.
Yeah. Offensive line a little bit, but they need a quarterback badly. Also, when Justin Jefferson gets traded to the Green Bay Packers, they're gonna need one.
Ooh, you wish.
I'm sorry. If Justin Jefferson, I don't think it's going to happen. If that mother lover gets traded when I'm away, I am going to be furious. Like, I will be furious.
Yeah, I don't see him doing that. They'll pay him. They'll pay the man.
I'm just saying.
Quarterback, huge need. Wide receivers a need. Corner opposite Surtain, big need. Edge, big need.
Hey,
I think edge is their next biggest need. We have we have guys, but we don't have the guy. But I don't care about any of it until we get our quarterback.
Perna, you got a 69.
Oh,
you fat with a 3. Yes, I just said that. That is that man's name. Don't tweet at me.
Is that from a year ago? Damn.
It's been a while. It's been a minute since we played that clip.
That 2 years.
It has been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Raiders, quarterback, but okay. I don't think it's their number one need. They need a quarterback, don't get me wrong.
Whoa.
But if they didn't get one in the first round, I don't think it's the end of the world because they can build up the rest of that offense a bit. And because their defense should be very good. I'm excited for their defense. They need to upgrade on offense significantly in multiple positions as well. And I think that, they have Gardner Minshew, they got AOC. I'm not saying that they're going to be like the most amazing team with them, but I think that they can get by. And if they go get a QB next year, they can fit it because 13's a weird spot. Like you said, they're going to be competing with multiple teams who are trying to trade up with the Vikings, the Broncos, trying to get a QB. I'm just saying Raiders, your defense is going to be good. You can just get another piece. I know it's not the most exciting thing, but just saying. No more.
They have Minshew. They can win with Minshew, but it's quarterback. It's all about what are the Broncos and Raiders going to do at QB?
Yeah.
Are they going to wait patiently?
True.
Or are they going to take where they're sitting? Or are they going to move up to try and get one of their guys?
Yeah.
Because they're interested in some of the same dudes. But they just take Penix at 13. God help me. If I have to watch a beautiful man like Michael Penix play for the Raiders, it's going to crush me, Tom. Crush me.
The Saints, they are the ones who are hosting a party, like a draft party. They're like, oh, do you want us to bring snacks or anything? They're like, no, just money. Just please bring us money. Oh, what gifts do you want for the house? Nothing. We want
cash,
money.
cold, hard cash.
That's it. No checks. Don't want to go to the bank. Yeah, they need offensive help. Chris Olave, I like him a lot. They need another wide receiver. Curious to see what they do on the offensive side of the ball because that seems to be the biggest need. And I mean that all over. I mean, hell, they also need a QB. But that's not even mentioned there.
Yeah.
But they need a QB too because Carr's not going to be the guy. Or it doesn't look like he's going to be the guy.
No.
So they need a lot. Hey, wrestling, baby. Got to support those indies.
I mean, too, also, it's it's not one of their top needs, but at some point, their running back, Mara's getting a little bit older. Jamal Williams wasn't as impactful in New Orleans.
Need to address it. Yep.
Oh,
sorry,
Colts.
Uploading things still.
Huge get. They got Flacco, so they got their backup. Zach Moss was kind of a big loss for him.
Just got to hope that Anthony Richardson is the guy, and he's good.
Yeah. Cannot wait to see him play this season.
I'm excited for him. Wide receiver, they locked up Pittman again, right? So they have him. I would like them to get another receiver. I think that they'll be addressing that in the draft. And then, they need to address secondary. Their secondary was not great last year, and they still almost made the playoffs. So secondary, I would say, has to be near or at the very tippy top of the list.
Yeah, and they do need to improve edge.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have like a game wrecker. They got like Kwity Paye and Samson Ebukam. They've got Buckner on the interior, which is nice. I think their receiving group is a little better than we think. I thought Alex Pierce came along nicely. Josh Downs. So I think it's something they can add maybe, but a little later. Seahawks quarterback is their biggest need, in my opinion.
Like, listen,
not for this upcoming season, but for moving forward,
the future, sure. Listen, or
look at the Seahawks. Wow,
that's perfect. What I'm saying. There's the fan fiction right there. Perfect. Yeah, offensive line, definitely, but linebacker, I would say pretty close to the top. I just don't know if that's their first pick.
Yeah, because they lost Bobby Wagyu and Jordan Brooks.
And Brooks was like this weird player where it's like, oh man, like could be really good. Like it's just got to be a little bit more consistent. You don't know. And then not even going to get a chance in Seattle. So
they lost Jamal Adams too, right? Is he gone?
Yeah, but that's not a loss.
No,
that is not a loss. That I could argue is a gain. That's just
talk about a bad trade.
Yeah, that one did. Perna, you can't. No, you can't.
Talk about. Oh yeah, I mean I forgot they got Sam Howell. So quarterback. I take that back. I keep forgetting Howell's there.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about, Sam. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
You're not going to be stuck in NFL hell, but like, again, I don't think it's the worst because if the Raiders go and draft it, let's just say that they trade up, they're super aggressive, they go get their quarterback. I don't think their offense is going to be godly this year anyway. So like, I'm saying if they hit on their guy, QB is the most important position. But if they don't feel like their guy is there and to trade up for that value, they can just rock with who they have. Sorry. Okay.
No, I agree.
Jaguars. Yeah.
They did a lot.
Mm-hmm. Gabe Davis, I'm curious how he's going to do there. I like Duvernay a lot, but
I think he'll do well.
Okay.
Because he doesn't have to be the number one dude. Just needs to do what Gabe Davis does. Just catch like 3 touchdowns 1 week, disappear for a couple weeks, come back, catch 2 or 3 more.
They need a healthy Christian Kirk to come back and just rock out.
Kirk, Zay Jones,
but another wide receiver. Yeah, their O-line, like they addressed it a bit, which is okay, right? Because they got him Morse, which I really like. Their O-line, I feel like their O-line is so expensive, and like it hasn't been as good as the money they're paying them. So like I wouldn't be surprised if they address that at some point too. Wouldn't be surprised.
Let's see here. What is their line?
Wouldn't be surprised. Godspeed.
Yeah.
Godspeed. All right, Bengals. D-line, they lost some folks. O-line, they need to get better at O-line too because I need to protect Joe Burrow. Wide receiver, we'll see what happens with T. Higgins. But yeah, I think both in the trenches is where they're going to be going.
Yeah. I think these are a lot of like solid, like Geno Stone, I thought was a great move for the Bengals.
True.
They bring back Von Bell, Zach Moss. He might be a little bit of an upgrade over Joe Mixon. We'll see. Gesicki could be decent there.
I don't think
DJ Reader's going to be hard to replace.
Reader, yes, but they have some youth on the defensive line, so like I don't think it's going to be the worst, but they need to at least address it to make sure it stays good.
They need a protective bubble around Joe Burrow, in my opinion.
I agree with that. I get that. Who we got at 19? The Bengals should be good.
Shut down corner.
Stay healthy.
Get another corner.
Ooh, they could definitely use some help on the D line now that
Aaron Donald replacing Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I'd say that's gonna be a little bit. So like they got Trey White, which I like, but I don't. First of all, I still think they need to address secondary. No. But 2, because their secondary is not good. Trey White needs to stay healthy.
Yeah,
and I don't know if he's going to. And Bills fans,
the Ram is so weird. Aaron Donald leaving is just like, oh, what do you do?
True, Terry.
What the fuck do you do to the Rams?
Their offense should be fun though.
Yeah, because they were a surprise last year of how strong they finished. I just don't know how you replace that.
You pray.
Yeah.
You do. Ooh, the Steelers. Quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, receiver definitely 100%. I love the Patrick Queen. They need to, O-line's up there still. I'm curious how their defense is going to be.
Yeah. Patterson, they signed right after the kickoff rule change, right? That could be an X factor.
Wide
for
receivers
them.
definitely up near the top.
Yeah.
I like Sam Howell a lot.
They need a 6'5" receiver and nothing less for Russ. So
he's like,
tall
I can't catch the ball. He's like, but you're tall. That's all.
Tall catchers. You need tall ball catchers, guys.
Oh boy.
Everything. Health. God.
They need health.
Dude, those are big losses.
Losing Wilkins definitely sucks too. Yeah. Offensive line, I would say probably number one. This year for the Dolphins, I mean, last year we were sitting in the offseason, right? Like they have all these weapons. They're like, okay, Tua, it's like his one shot. Now it's literally like potentially his last shot.
Yeah.
It's potentially his last one. If things don't go well for the Dolphins, especially if like the Bills have a little bit of a down year, the Patriots are still rebuilding, and their main competition is the Jets. I mean, the Dolphins had an opportunity to win that division last year and should have, but they blew it.
Yeah. I'm hoping Shaq Barrett has a huge year for him.
Appreciate you.
But depth for their line, we saw how the injuries there riddled them last season. I just like that they have a receiver in there. Is Tyreek Hill about to retire yet? I don't know. Let's say, I mean, edge is a weird need too, just because you're going to have to wait for Chubb to get healthy.
Yes.
You brought in Barrett to kind of ease that. They lose Van Ginkel. They have too many needs, I think, the Dolphins.
That wasn't the issue. The issue was that they copied and pasted the Falcons, the Bears and Falcons, who they won and lost. That
was the other problem there.
That was the issue.
Center?
Eagles.
Center?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We'll see. Here's the thing with the Eagles, right? They could do no wrong. We're like, God, they're playing chess. Roseman's making all the right moves, and then everything fell apart last year. And just like that, now it's like, do they know what they're doing?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I really like the Saquon signing. I would say they still need to address and it's actually listed both there. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I think, is a solid player. I think they still need to address safety because I don't know if you trust a lot. And then, Devin White, I mean, talk to Buccaneers fans. I mean, the way that he played, he comes out and is amazing. And then coverage, he's not great.
I think he's one of the most perplexing players. Like, I don't know if he's really good or if he's really bad. Just based on Twitter reactions to him.
Sure. I just think that they need to shore up that linebacker position regardless, because I don't know how long Devin White is going to work out. But Dominic, dropping a fitty.
Congrats, Dominic, on potty training.
Let's go.
That shit is tough.
Literally.
Poopy. Let's see here. I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you one for potty training.
Yeah.
Your future is bright, Dominic.
Johnny John.
Woo! There you go. Pooped. Yeah, we already did the Vikings. So they're good. Cowboys. Let's talk about the Cowboys. Interior O-line. Yeah. Interior O-line.
Yeah. And what's going on with where is Tyron? Where did he go?
Oh, he went crap.
Jets. Oh, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, he was the Jets, you said, right? Yeah.
They need to trade Dak Prescott to the Broncos during the draft.
Cowboys need things. Owner. O-line, definitely. 1,000,000% O-line. They still can't stop the run. I would say, they got Eric Kendricks, but I don't think that that's going to be, the answer. They need to get, a legit linebacker. And I don't know if they are going to be able to get one in the draft unless they like go after like Wilson early or something. Like it just seems like middle linebacker this year is kind of a mixed bag. I know this because the Packers need a middle linebacker. And considering that Jordan Love literally spoke to Micah Parsons' face on, yeah, we were going to run the ball because you're having DBs play as a linebacker. So we're just going to run you over. They went out and they drafted a potential run stopper last year. And then I was talking to Scooter. He's like, yeah, they made him lose a ton of weight. And then like he wasn't effective. So
love that. Love when guys get position switched after the draft.
Appreciate you, Tracy.
They should have signed Josie Jewell. But you didn't, Dallas.
They're all in though. All in. Packers. Okay.
I really don't know what your number one need is, honestly.
It's linebacker. Yeah, linebacker.
Oh, what you just said. Never mind.
It's middle linebacker and safety still, because even though they got Xavier McKinney, that's great. They need somebody else to play back there as well. Potentially corner, depending on the health of Eric Stokes. Interior offensive line. Yeah, I agree with that. Probably a guard. We would probably be nice. Yeah, I'd probably say those are some of the top needs. Yeah. But yeah, safety and linebacker.
I'm excited to watch Jacobs with you guys.
I am really excited.
I'll be able to root for him a little bit more now.
That's right.
Good dude, too. Really good dude,
Whatever
Josh Jacobs.
Whatever it takes. Buccaneers. Probably linebacker. Again, right? They need to address that. O-line would be a bit helpful. Definitely. Wide receivers interesting. I mean, they just have some older players.
Yeah. Is Father Time ever going to catch up to Mike Evans? I don't know.
1,000 yards. But yeah, no. I think O-line for the Buccaneers, protect Baker Mayfield. Maybe secondary. Oh, they have corner.
Yeah, losing Carlton Davis. They have Jamel Dean. But
yeah,
Carlton Davis was good.
Okay. Cardinals we talked about.
What was there? Oh yeah, they could use. They need another running back behind Rashad White. I think I would say for the Bucs.
They've been trying to get their guy, but
they need to have good running attack. And they lose Canales. We'll see. Cards. We already did you.
You did.
Bills.
There they are.
Edge. Yes. Corner. Yes.
Safety.
Yes.
Yep. Wide receiver.
Line. Sure. Receiver. Yes. Too many.
Yeah. There's a lot of needs for the Bills right now.
Make the line better. Give Josh Allen more time. He will destroy his foes. Oh, I forgot Trubisky. That's right.
Defense needs to get a lot better. Yeah. Trubisky.
Right. They're resetting. They're resetting.
Lions?
They're gonna find the Bills are gonna find guys to make that are playmakers. You know.
Yeah.
They're finding the depth this year. That's what Buffalo's doing. They're finding the depth.
Lions, secondary. Wide receiver I like too, but secondary. I say secondary is probably. I know they got like some solid guys there, but I would think that's going to be one of their top priorities. And then, yeah, that's.
Oh, they added Carlton. That's right. Nice. And DJ. Did you hear they wouldn't let him leave the facility? DJ Reader.
It's like you are not allowed to go.
Literally they wouldn't schedule his flight until they were done convincing him to sign.
It's a hostage situation.
He kept asking like when they were going to schedule his flight. He's like, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I think I saw that on Kay Adams' show.
That's kind of amazing.
This is going to be a hot take. I think the Lions could use a new head coach.
You're not getting Dan Campbell. You're not getting him.
Dan, come.
No,
learn some more under Sean Payton.
You're not, Brandon. You're not getting Dan Campbell.
Come on, give me Dan Campbell, Detroit.
You're not. I mean, listen, it would work out for me personally. Not because of your happiness or anything, but just because he'd be out of the division.
Yeah.
But
dude, DJ Reader, we could be talking about that as one of the most impactful signings this offseason. I just can't wait to see what the Lions do in the draft. Now that they're not picking up so like at the top, we've given them a lot of credit, rightfully so.
Good teams now. Yep.
Yeah, now you got to draft where the good teams draft.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback, Ravens, obviously.
Just hand him. You know what? That's who Caleb Williams needs. Just hand the ball off and just be like, just run. You don't even need an offensive line. Just run people over. It's fine. It's fine. All right, Ravens. O-line. Definitely O-line. Did I mention O-line? And then O-line again.
Oh.
They lost some pieces. They lost some pieces.
Another team, though, that they always replace their pieces. Like, I never worry about the Ravens. Usually it's like you're talking about defensive. It's like, oh, they had a great edge rusher and they just let him go. They found another dude. Henry should be a big impact player, even at his age, for that offense. It's one of the most curious.
I'm so excited to see
I just want to see it. I want to see it. Tackle the ankles, but if you don't tackle the ankles, it's going to be interesting.
49ers, probably both in the trenches, right? O-line, D-line.
Well, they lost Eric Armstead coming off a really good season. So, yeah. Chase Young was a rental.
We don't care about Chase Young in terms of that. Yeah, listen, Lions fans will fight you. They will fight you for Dan Campbell.
Leonard Floyd opposite Bosa could be interesting. Floyd's just solid every year. So,
Yeah. O-line, D-line, and then potentially secondary, I would say. As long as they keep Brandon Ayuk, too, they'd be fine with there.
Yeah.
Chiefs, wide receiver, definitely now.
New stadium, wide receiver
now.
Yeah. They brought in Brown, right? But what happens with Rashee Rice?
Yeah, everything going on with Rashee Rice, you need to, you know what? Double up, maybe even triple up on wide receiver. Yeah, they're just gonna do that. Because again, the rest of it's fine. Like offensive line, sure, but
losing Snead's gonna affect their defense.
Snead's the Snead loss sucks.
I think Willie Gay, that's a sizable loss for the defense as well.
Yeah.
And a little bit of line depth. So
wide receiver, secondary.
Oh yeah, we didn't even touch these teams yet.
Think about it. Oh yeah, Cleveland, better contracts. They come on, can you scroll back up for the Browns? Nick Chubb, it depends on him coming back and how healthy he's going to be. I think that they're pretty solid at wide receiver right now. I think that they can get by with Cooper and Judy. I think.
Yeah, I think they're set at receiver.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right. Probably O-line would be the number one thing.
Sure.
And then see, because their defense should still be pretty damn solid. Yeah, it should be pretty solid. Ooh, different skill sets. That's interesting.
They're such different receivers.
They're very different. I feel like Metcalf has just put on a larger body of work, but yeah, I think Waddle's really, really good. They're just completely different guys.
Yeah.
Personally, I would want Waddle. Personally.
Yeah, it depends on who else you have, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you swapped Waddle and put DK with the Dolphins, because you got DK and Tyreek Hill. Now that's interesting, right?
That'd be sick.
But you put Waddle over with Lockett. They're similar builds.
Yeah. Be dope.
Panthers.
God.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Offensive line, wide receiver. Getting Hunt is definitely good. Getting Josh Nijman's definitely solid as a former Packer. Definitely solid on the line. Edge. I mean,
I'd say receiver and edge are their two biggest.
Yeah.
Without question.
I say so.
We know they're going to build the line. We know they're going to run the ball. We'll see.
Texans. I think they're all right at wide receiver. I don't think that needs to be on there.
Receiver, check.
I think they're okay.
Tight end, no, I don't see that as a need. Okay, fine. Linebacker. I don't see edge as a need.
I think that they could look for receiver because if Stefon Diggs is a 1-year deal, they can address it in either late day 2, early day 3. But
that's kind of the spot they're in, right? It doesn't feel like they need to address anything, but they can add anywhere to make a good unit better.
Yeah, get a guard, get somebody in the interior, and then I think you're all right. Secondary, maybe.
They added Autry. That's solid. Settle solid. Their defensive front should be better.
I also think, like, I'm curious to see how Joe Mixon does with them.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. Yeah, we'll see.
Texans are going to be good. They're on the up and up.
Perna, what do you got coming out today? We went into OT today. Look at that.
OT, making up for lost time. Winners, losers, UFL week 2.
It was very good.
Didn't know if I'd do it, but we're going to do it. I watched a good amount. And, yeah. What else am I going to talk about today?
Yeah. I don't know if the WrestleMania thing's going to come out today or tomorrow. But yeah, there will be content. There will be content at some point. But folks, we appreciate you. We'll be back on Wednesday because then we're going to be off for a little bit. Christian Watson needs to stay healthy before I say Watson. Reed right this second, but Watson could be our wide receiver 1. Just needs to stay healthy. Yeah, so we'll be here Wednesday, and then I'm gone from Friday to the following Friday. So we'll be taking off for a week, and then we'll be back for the draft better than ever. But we'll see you on Wednesday. We appreciate you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
You reached your destination.